Hey, it's Wednesday here with Longshore and McKnight. Glad you are on board. Midweek, I'm here in Studio B, buried down in Troy with the red shirt on today.
Oh, yeah.
Logo. It doesn't look like Troy red, or what's the
No, it's not.
color?
This is my Nick Saban shirt. This is, you remember when Miss Terry told him, Nick, you can't go around wearing polos with the script A on it all the time. You got to diversify. Maybe some pastels, short sleeve polo collar with the buttons and all that. I got a couple of those. Saban wears those to great effect. So I figured today, just ditch the polo, wear a button down. That's what
why not?
Yep.
You got to change it around a little bit every now and then.
That's exactly right.
Looks good.
Does it sound weird for me to say, to just open up the show today to give compliments to AL.com, which I never do? I mean,
wait a minute. Did somebody get interviewed and then one of their writers write about it?
Yeah, Mark Heim and all that kind of stuff. Look, I'll tell you first thing. I'm a Yellowhammer News guy. Yellowhammernews.com.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, other than checking my mail, that's my first stop on the computer every morning. Because I like that dude who gives you 7 things people ought to be talking about today in the state of Alabama.
Oh, he's fabulous. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Not to jump the route, but just a quick question. Yes or no will probably suffice.
All right.
Is PM on a cruise?
No.
Okay. I mean,
you don't get it? You didn't get the Wednesday with Philip?
I didn't get it.
It's there. It's right there.
Wait a minute. Wednesday with Philip.
Whatever they call it. Coffee with Philip. I don't drink coffee,
let me hit the refresh here. Something's going on.
Coffee with Philip. Wednesday morning musings, links of interest, and more. Grab a cup of coffee and let's talk about Auburn sports and more. 4 hours ago, John. 3 o'clock.
Enormous New Zealand-based offensive tackle, 60% off.
Come on.
4-star. There's Sonny Smith. Wait a minute.
There you go.
I want a bigger marquee. I want that normal logo. They're throwing me a curveball on this one. I don't know if I like this or not.
Well, usually it has an updated picture of Philip on it, and I don't know. Maybe that's...
All right. Well, I'll get to this in a minute. You were saying...
No, you got to listen now. You got to pay attention. I don't want you sitting over there going, oh, yeah, there you go, Philip. Under your breath while I'm talking here. Philip, who cares about that? Move on.
I think I know where you're going, but I'm on it. Where are you heading?
There are 2 things at AL.com, which, I'm not a fan. I haven't been a fan. They usually go after low-hanging fruit and just after clicks. And, hey, I saw on Twitter that so-and-so and such did this. Let me write a full-scale article about this. But 2 things, side by side, from Matt Stahl and Michael Casagrande, both posted about an hour ago. Michael Casagrande with an opinion piece, Hugh Freeze talk wears thin. Auburn is better than this.
Can I go ahead and just insert? So I got to admit, I got to come clean. Maybe that's why I didn't see PM, because that caught my eye and I immediately read it. And I was wondering if there was ever going to be any part of that article. Auburn is better than this. First coined by John Longshore after the 2012 season. But nope, didn't see it anywhere in there.
Now, again, Casagrande, Hugh Freeze talk wears thin. Auburn is better than this. There are several phrases in the English language that I absolutely hate. You'll never, ever hear me say this or, say, I agree with that. At the end of the day, you'll never hear me say that. It is what it is. Stupidest thing ever uttered in the history of mankind. And believe me, I'm a guy who took shadows calls for 20 years. Dumb. The other one, you're better than that. Come on, man, you're better than that. Wait a minute.
You're not gonna throw in hate it for you.
Oh, that's just insincere. I'm talking about, you're better.
Yeah,
let me see if I can live up to your expectations of who I should be.
Well,
I hate that stuff, you know.
I'll agree with two of those.
I didn't realize that you had standards set for me that I simply am not meeting in your eyes. Jog off with that stuff. Give me a break.
I'll agree with two of those. I think end of the day is way overused.
You know,
people use it as a crutch. It's kind of like when people make a statement and then end it with right. Like, are you answering?
That's
your
another
own
one. That's another one. I know, right?
Yeah. Hey, you know, the sky is blue, right?
Yeah.
Don't answer your own question. That is way overused all the time.
This is from a guy who loves Philip Marshall, for goodness sakes.
Well, true. Yeah.
Don't
Will
answer
Auburn
your own question.
Only time will tell. What was the other one besides end of the day?
The end of the day, and it is what it is.
Yeah, that's stupid. But I had somebody years ago, Barry, and I've never forgotten.
You're better than this.
Was in I was actually playing at the Piedmont Driving Club. We talked about that yesterday. That young man that shot 263s to qualify for the U.S. Open.
17-year-old.
I was on the 17th tee. I can still remember. This is probably 15 years ago. Playing with a buddy, one of my real good buddies. It's par 3. Did not hit a good shot, and I got my club and I slammed the head of it down on the tee box. And the guy looked at me and said, "Hey, man, you're better than that." And I've never forgotten it. And I said, you know, and in my mind, I thought, he's right. I am.
Yeah, but you know what?
I should not have done that.
A lot of times they're wrong. I'm only as good as this. What are you talking about?
He was right.
I just hate, well, so many times, oh, come on, Auburn, you're better than this.
Unfortunately, I never had Charles Lee say, hey, Longshore, you're better than that. It was more like, yeah, it's about what we expected. Now stand in the back there.
But it's like Michael Casagrande sitting back there saying, come on, Auburn, you're better than this. I know you have it in you. Come on. Just a little more try-harder. So I got past the headline, and it actually is a pretty good piece.
Yeah.
This is basically, you know, I don't know where in the world Auburn is better than this comes in, because they haven't been better than this. They've been worse than this since 2019. They've not been better than this. Michael Casagrande, I guess the premise of the column, it's an editorial, it's an opinion piece, is that time for Hugh to stop talking. Time for him to start delivering. I know, right? It is what it is. Couldn't agree with him more on that. But you know, he takes issue with things that Freeze is saying. He was on some Birmingham show from the Brunos, the Pro-Am up
Champions
there.
Tour.
Yeah, the Champions Tour. And he says, look, I know what people are saying. I know what the expectations are. We've got to get to a bowl game. Casagrande crawled all over that. Bowl game? You've got to get to bowl game.
Fans at Bada get a message board.
Yeah.
So
I guess the Birmingham Bowl. Yeah. The Birmingham Bowl is going to ease the minds of. He's right. He's not wrong. The other thing that kind of stuck in his craw was, you know, he said that was tone deaf.
Yeah.
For Hugh to say that. The other thing he said was, look, you know, we've had 4 straight years of non-top 25 recruiting classes, which is true. And the point is,
well, no, it's not true, because Auburn has had top 25 recruiting classes.
Before he got there.
Yeah.
Before he got there. You know, they had 4. This is what Freeze said. You know, we had 4 straight years of non-top 25 recruiting classes before I got here, which is true. But here's the thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know, after a fashion, I mean, I preach patience as much as anybody, but Casagrande saying, you've had 3 years now of top, whatever it is, 15 recruiting classes, and you were still, whatever it was, 5 and 7 last year.
And, you know, I know it ruffled a few feathers, and it's this time of season.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't like it when these writers start jumping on some of these coaches. I miss it. Back in the day, I mean, Feinbaum, he made his career doing it at the Birmingham Post-Herald. I couldn't get a copy of it quick enough back in the day. So I kind of enjoy these guys testing and challenging some of these coaches that are making so dadgum much money. Yeah, Birmingham Bowl's not going to cut it. I think Auburn's expecting a New Year's Day bowl of some sort. There are a lot of New Year's Day bowls. It's not just the Big Four, obviously. So, yeah, I think, a prestigious bowl game before Freeze got to Auburn. Harsin couldn't recruit, but Malzahn had some years that were top 25, top 15. So it's not like it was completely bare. Malzahn had brought some people in there. I don't know who Harsin did, but he's done well the last 2 years. Certainly this year, they're trending well in the recruiting wars. But talking season's over. He's got to put up. I mean, is 8-4 enough? I mean, if you beat the right teams, I guess it is.
Yeah, 8-4 with blowout losses to Alabama and Georgia. Yeah, I liked the piece. I hate it when people say you're better than that. Who are you to judge what I'm better than or not? Ain't but one thing. Gonna judge me. I hate it when people say that, but it's a good piece.
Barry, I didn't like it either. When he said that to me, I wanted to go, "You son of a." Yeah. But he was right. It's a good lifelong friend.
Well, if you're right,
I wanted to go, at the moment, it's kind of like if you ask your playing partner, he's not having a good hole, but you're not sure if it was a double or a triple bogey. You don't ask. You wait for four holes. Go, hey man, back there on one, what'd you make?
I feel like that story. It's a good story. I feel like that story is at a loose end. It's not really fully told until you reveal to everybody who got into whose pocket.
Yeah. Well, this was a tournament. We were playing
tournament. Come on.
It was very competitive.
I know you.
We were on 17. I think we were even at that time, and I knew that this shot was going to be important. I think we went to a playoff with this group. And
there wasn't any side action or anything?
We had it with some other people that were in other groups. I don't remember having any action with this particular group. You played different matches against different twosomes throughout the event. Now, is you're better than that similar to
I hate that.
Hey, Auburn, you're $100 million program. Act like
it. Yeah, it's exactly like that. That's what galls me. Define what act like it means. Unlimited smoothies, no bus trips,
cachet, and panache.
I was about to say, I thought La and Quinta is actually one word, The other article.
Look, no Greyhound buses back from Columbia, South Carolina.
It wasn't a Greyhound bus.
No La Quintas or red roof ends and unlimited smoothies.
Here's the other one that was provocative that I really liked, and it was also posted a little bit more than an hour ago. This one actually was more shocking. Matt Stahl, AL.com, why Alabama football spent $23 million more on coach pay versus any other SEC team in fiscal year 2024. Say what? $47.4 million in coach pay spending to the NCAA. That's what they reported for fiscal year 2024, leading the SEC in coaching pay by around $23 million. UAT Athletics lost over $28 million in fiscal year 2024, which ran from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, which was a year ago. Holy smokes.
Well, as the article states, when I saw that, I immediately figured it out. I mean, prior to 2024, the 17 years prior to that was nowhere close. They had no coaching issues, head coaching turnover, things of that nature. And in 2025, those numbers will be back to where they normally are. I just think that's a time deal with the transition from DeBoer, from Saban DeBoer or Saban to DeBoer.
That's what Jessica Shingle, an open records and project specialist at the University of Alabama, that's what she said.
Wait a minute. They have an employee with what title?
Open records and project specialist. That means if somebody wants something, with it being a public institution, you're supposed to be what they call a sunshine law. You're supposed to be able to show it. She's the one that shows it to. She said in an email the net loss reported for the year was largely due to one-time expenses associated with the football coaching transition. And I'm thinking, that is a beautiful statement. That is awesome.
One time, big bucks.
That's what happened with Terry Bowden. That's what happened with Wayne Hall. That's what happened with Gene Chizik. That's what happened. And why Auburn did you not use that verbiage?
Yeah.
Why did you not say, hey, all of you guys out there, oh, you're paying Pat Dye and everything, and you're paying this and all that. You know, all these coaches, that's kind of been like an open line from Bama fans towards Auburn for years. Why not just say, the net loss reported for the year was largely due to one-time expenses associated with the football coaching transition?
No big deal.
Everybody's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I guess that's right.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Except one of them's not fired and a couple of the other ones were, you know?
Well, exactly. I mean,
23.
I mean, you've got, let's see, Harsin, Malzahn, Chizik, Terry Bowden.
Yeah.
If I missed anybody, Brother Oliver was in there at some point in time for a couple of games. So there's,
and not just that. Again, Lebo, Barbie.
Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. So you've got this, 17-year period where nothing was happening, where Alabama's numbers were down there like where Mississippi State and Arkansas's are, and that's where they'll be next year. And you get this one-time transition. Wow. Yeah, that didn't really surprise me. It's a lot of money. There's no doubt.
A
lot of money.
They lost $28 million.
That's just think they lost what Auburn paid Malzahn to leave.
So that's a wash, right? I guess. I mean, they paid Saban 23 or something like that, and they paid and Auburn paid Malzahn 20.
Saban's still on the payroll. He's not completely gone.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me there's a former coach that is still on the payroll?
Well, he actually has
pearls here.
He actually has a title. The title's not stroll out to the practice field whenever you want to and tell the current head coach how you want it run.
Meet the Illinois transfer linebacker at the Torch 85 for breakfast.
And by the way, try to raise a little money along the way, but you don't have to report it. You don't have to let anybody know how much you raise. Just go out there and raise a little bit while you're at it.
This is why he's the best in the business right there. That's all top of his head. See, Barry, there is a big difference there, and you're not seeing that. Here's what it is. One person's actually doing something. Is he? The other person, he just kind of hung around and went to practice, and I see now that the scales have been lifted from my
Japanese maples and all that. And we're on radio. He was on a radio show once a week. Love that guy. Miss him tremendously.
I know a guy who's on a TV show once a week. And but I appreciate you pointing me out. See, Barry, there is a difference. Yeah. I'm surprised you don't see the difference there, Barry, because it's obvious to this reporter.
Yeah. Okay. You think after 30 years, maybe he would have just caught a glimpse of it, but I'm still working, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still working, no doubt. So this RPI business, I want to touch on something when we get back from our first break today. It's there again, it's kind of like QBR. I really don't know a lot about it, but it sounds kind of fun and interesting. And I've seen some things more about it that kind of, leads me to the Big Boy Conference, something else I've coined as well, which more and more people I listen to thinks eventually going to happen somewhere down the road. But we'll get into that a little bit. JD, two-time caller of the year, getting on Freeze a little bit. So is our man Bill from Baltimore.
We'll fire that up on the screen when we come back. And I'm looking here. They haven't learned their lesson. Their Alabama baseball coach, whose season just ended with a loss to Southern Miss, just got an extension.
Well,
his contract is extended for finishing, 7th in the SEC, and
they did have his best regular season since 2010. How about that?
Yep. Okay.
And
there you go.
The way I see it, Barry, somebody in accounting said, whoa. We're not firing this guy and hiring somebody else because that makes that number go even higher. You got to keep this guy around a couple of years because it's just baseball. Big deal.
Yeah. And since Saban is there, I can tell him to cut the spending.
That's how I would have handled it if I was the AD.
Yeah.
Run this guy? Let him hang around for a couple more years. Can't afford it. We got to spend our money somewhere else, like on football players.
Maybe he'll bet on somebody and we can fire him for cause. I don't know. Save some money. Well, he's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. And pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best, not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. Okay, 22 minutes past the hour here on a Wednesday. Top of next hour, CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News. Looking forward to talking with CJ. He's been out of town, out of the country the last couple of weeks, and looking forward to having CJ on. Speaking of out of the country, our man Josh Harris, the money line magician at the bottom of the next hour, he is in Canada. I don't know if he's working with the Trump administration to turn them into the 51st state or what's going on up there. We'll check in with Josh tomorrow. I wonder what the money line is on that ever happening. Probably
I don't know. We got in a conversation about that. I mean, I've never been to Canada. I've never been outside the United States. I've never been to Canada, but I got some really close friends that are Canadian, and, they are proud of their heritage, obviously, and tell me stories about Canada. They even brought me a book about Canada. I love that book that Mike Myers wrote, from Wayne's World.
Sure.
And I guess, and the people I was talking to were not Canadian. They were saying, can we pick and choose? I mean, can we, you guys can have like the Yukon and the Northwest Territories. I don't know, keep Prince Edward Island. Can we get Ontario and maybe Saskatchewan because there's a Troy cornerback that plays for their CFL team, maybe Alberta and Vancouver, but not the rest of British Columbia. Can we just get like some of that and leave all of that ice and they can have that and all that,
I think Canada is a very large geographical country.
It's the second largest country in the world.
But man, I mean, you're right. All the major cities are right there on the U.S. border, basically. I think Calgary might be a little further north. Either Calgary or Winnipeg is a little further north than Vancouver and Toronto and Montreal. And
Edmonton's way up there, by the way. So I don't know. They got 17 million people in Canada.
Oh, wow. Only 17 million?
Which is, well, last I checked. I mean, maybe it's 20 by now. But, California's got more people than Canada.
Yeah.
But I think I read somewhere that like 70 to 80% of the Canadian population is within 100 miles of the United States border. Something like that. So can we get that 100 miles? Can we do that?
Yeah. How's the deal going with Greenland? Doesn't Trump want them too?
What the heck for? Greenland?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'd rather have Greenland, that track up in Utah, than Greenland. Probably does more business. Okay. Yeah. Real quick to wrap up the last segment here. JD says talent, he's talking about Auburn. Talent didn't lose games against Cal, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Coaching, paid at the level it's being paid, should have been able to win 2 of those 3.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree, John?
You see why he's the 2-time caller of the year.
I agree.
I'm with you. I don't know if the coaching lost all 3 of those, but Malzahn. Freeze had some games last year. You're scratching your head going.
Some people say same thing.
Yeah. What's going on here? So, and he's been asked that. I mean, there have been some coaching decisions that people question. He understands it. Got to get that cleaned up.
Yeah. Bill from Baltimore says, I'm not sold on Freeze as a coach. He had enough talent to squeeze out more wins and just didn't. The big mistake, and I do think it's a mistake now, I defended it at the time. I understood why he did what he did, was in putting all his chips in last year for Peyton Thorne. I guess they could have gotten Cam Ward out of the transfer portal, but they would have spent a lot of money. They wouldn't have gotten Cam Coleman. They wouldn't have gotten Perry Thompson. They wouldn't have gotten, there was a bunch of people they wouldn't have gotten. So I kind of understand it. I'm not even sure that was even a chance or anything. It's just, he should have gotten him. Was that even a thing? Was that even interesting? Okay. So that wraps that up. Now we've got a few minutes here to get, John's talking about, are you talking about FPI or RPI? FPI.
Football Power Index, I believe.
Because they have updated. We talked about this yesterday. John brought this up yesterday. And since then, ESPN has updated it. Again, as of late last night.
Did anybody play? Did I miss something? How do you update it?
Did anybody move up, move down, whatever? Did anybody get flunk out of school? Does anybody flunk out of school anymore? Who's on academic probation anymore? Anybody get caught, I don't know, hot rodding down University Avenue or College Street or something? I don't know. College football top 25 according to the ESPN FPI. I can't put it on the screen, but I can show it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah. Oh, you got a like a logo version. I've got the actual script names of them.
Okay. But you recognize all of it. The top 25. And it goes all the way from number 20. This, again, I don't know what FPI is either, so I'm not prepared to defend it or support it for that reason, plus the fact that it's the first week of June, and it doesn't matter. They'll go all the way from number 25, Nebraska. Nebraska's in the top 25.
Ooh.
Arkansas is at number 22. Arkansas?
The
general consensus I've heard is that they're supposed to be terrible again this year. Gators at 18, South Carolina at 15, Auburn at 14 in the ESPN FPI, number 14.
14.
Ole Miss 13, LSU 12. There is a stretch of 5 straight SEC teams and 6 out of 7. Oklahoma 16, South Carolina 15, Auburn 14, Ole Miss 13, LSU 12. Clemson 11. They've got Tennessee as a top 10 team, according to their Football Power Index. Number 10, Miami 9, Texas A&M 8, Notre Dame 7, Oregon 6, Penn State 5. John was the first one I can ever recall to tell me that Penn State's probably going to be pretty good this year.
16 returning starters with a senior quarterback.
I don't care if he's not a Heisman Trophy candidate. His name's Drew Aller. That's pretty solid. I mean,
before I knew who or anyone knew who Cam Newton was, I remember Kirk Herbstreit going, Auburn is going to be really good this year, really good. I'm thinking, Kirk, what have you been smoking? What are you talking about? He hit on the fact and the point. Auburn has a lot of senior returning seniors on this team. They're
a
very
old
experienced.
Yep.
Then we learned about Cam Newton as well. So that combination was pretty lethal.
So Penn State at 5 in the ESPN Top 25 FPI.
Yep.
Ohio State 4. Alabama 3. They do not have a senior quarterback. They do not have 16 returning starters.
Or a dominant running back, as we noted yesterday.
Number 2 is Georgia. Number 1, the Texas Longhorns. So in case you're keeping track, there's no real change in the top 7, because I remember yesterday we pointed out in their ESPN FPI Top 25, the top 3 are all SEC. The next 3 are all Big Ten, and then Notre Dame. So this is why they're able to dictate so much about what's going on in intercollegiate governance right now, because the SEC and the Big Ten are the big dogs in the fight right now. And we get this from Daniel, an update on Phil Steele. Phil I've sent
the request.
He's got, I think he said the magazine is going to the printers this week, and maybe today. But the magazine, he's got everything locked up, ready to go, I guess. And the magazine's going to the printers sometime soon. Anyway, so the magazine,
we usually have. I want to say,
which means that he's got all the info compiled, and written up. So he should be good to go sometime soon. I want to say it's usually late June, early July is when we have Bill on.
But the request has been made. Also, John, do you need Barry and I to come speak at the FFA convention, since we've been nominated? Well, actually won Broadcasters of the Year awards from that organization. In my office, I've got my FFA Broadcaster of the Year. John from Wetumpka is an FFA coordinator within the state. And the conventions this week in Montgomery, thanks for the run yesterday. Love those guys. As a matter of fact, I know still keep in touch with several of the students. My friend Caden Bland is first class. I think she goes to Marbury. Had a chance to come sit in our booth a year and a half ago at a football game. Impressive as heck. They do wonderful work, and glad to have them in Montgomery. We'll take a break right Let's
here.
do it. Because I got something about this RPI, FPI, what other kind of Magnum PI, whatever we're talking about. I got something else I want to get to that caught my attention on this as well. Yep.
In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023, Anheuser-Busch, Bush Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
I was doing the work the other day, trying to figure out this. We were talking before about what was it? What was it? Alabama? The reasons why Alabama football spent $23 million more on coach pay versus any other SEC team in fiscal year 24. Now that's just football. That boggles my mind. Just football. And obviously, you know, they saved some money maybe on women's golf, cross country, something like that. Those
are numbers that look at it. Yeah, you know, those are numbers though that I'm not familiar with, but they don't surprise me. I mean, in the type of numbers that the salaries that Nick Saban was making, there again, I can go back and $4 million 18 years ago. But I mean, I mentioned, you know, Malzahn getting $28 million just to leave. Just get out of here. We're going to pay you $28 million. And I forgot what they paid Harsin. So these numbers don't really blow my mind. You know, there again, it's a one-time note on the balance sheet, but you know, next year, you know,
sometimes when something like that crosses my stream of consciousness here, I'll admit, sometimes I look at it and I think, okay, I'm going to bring this up. What'll John say about this? Let me think. What'll John say about this that I can rebut easily and all? How's John gonna respond to this? So maybe I can hit him with this as well, or something like that. And I looked at that and I thought, here's how John normally responds to somebody spending money with at least the hint of inefficiency involved.
Okay. All right.
What are the titles?
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, that's where I was going.
All that money, what are they getting out of it? You know, and I'm talking about the whole department where they didn't win a football title in the league. They didn't win a conference championship in men's basketball or women's basketball. Didn't win a conference championship in baseball. Didn't win the conference in softball.
There's a lot of cushion there. You know, there again, Bama fans have got to, you know, come off this high and off this honeymoon. But whatever the number was, they don't care. 6 natties, dominated college football on Sports Center every night. You know, Saban was a movie star. It don't matter. Now, there again, earlier this week, Barry, who had the better year in athletics, that didn't go over well with Bama Nation.
That's what they're concerned about.
You know, I really hadn't thought about it, but now since that smart Alec Longshore brought it up again, and he's talking about basketball and baseball and whatever other sport, men's golf and all this other stuff. Now, you know, I didn't really think about it, but now that he brings it up, well, son of a gun.
Is that the conversation? Is that the conversation among the old geezers sitting around the empty barrel outside the square in Florida playing checkers? And that's what they're talking about. All right, Elmer, we didn't win no title in football. Again, we didn't win no title in men's basketball. We didn't win no title in baseball. We didn't win no title. And now you're telling me the Aubs had a better year than we did? What? Is it? Is that? Can somebody check the Constitution of the state of Alabama? Is that even allowed? Man, we got to do something. Wait a minute. When the Aubs have been better than we've been,
yeah, see, they hadn't thought about that in a long time. Probably 17 years. They hadn't thought about it. Now it kind of is hitting home a little bit. So, yeah, you know, I think there again, it's a big year for Freeze, no doubt. But, Barry, it's a big year for Kalen DeBoer. He better make the playoff. He goes to Tallahassee and lays an egg. Whoa. Woo. I'll say that. Well, we're going to do that. We're on Monday of Labor Day anyway. I was going to say we'll be on Monday of Labor Day. We're all, you know, that's never an issue, but we might be on Sunday if they lose. How about that?
Well, how about this? How about they win, but they don't look good? You know, 14-10, 18-14.
Well, I'll say this. Any kind of win is better than any loss. I mean, if they go to Tallahassee and lose to a team that was, 2-10 last year, well, they're going to be screaming. Now, if they go down there and they win 14-10, what's wrong? This isn't going great. And then by the time they get to Athens and they're undefeated and they beat Georgia, that won't even matter. You remember that Florida State game? No, what happened? Yeah,
so here's what also begs the question at the checkerboard on the square in Florala. Kevin, not related to John Sumrall, does Auburn have the better coaches?
Well, I don't know about coaches.
I don't know. I mean, they've got really good coaches. I'm really impressed. I mean, there's a couple of them that haven't, pulled the weight. I'm really impressed
I'll
with
say this.
Thompson. I'm really impressed with Pearl.
I know they're very excited that Ryan Grubb is back in Tuscaloosa. I think DeBoer's very excited. I think Alabama's secondary coach, I think his last name is I'm looking at him, but I cannot think of his name. And I know it's not Sheridan, but it sounds similar to that. I know they're very high on him. He's probably going to be a head coach one day. He was featured in that Fox Nation series a lot as well.
Okay,
some of Auburn's assistants, I'm not overly familiar with them, but Freeze to DeBoer, I think that's an interesting question, Barry. And I see these rankings from time to time, and I see DeBoer ranked very high. And to me, it's all based on what he did at Washington. I mean, I don't think DeBoer's one of the top coaches in the SEC right now. I mean, we've only seen 1 year of it, and he was 9-4, and he lost 2 games as a double-digit favorite. How is that one of the top coaches in the league? So I think a lot of these polls and rankings are based on what DeBoer did at Washington, not in Tuscaloosa.
Here, Maurice Linguist is the defensive backs coach. He used to be the head coach at Buffalo. Nick Sheridan is the co-offensive coordinator. See how that goes. Freddie Roach, Chris Kapilovich, who's the offensive line coach, used to be at Alabama State. Robert Gillespie, Brian Ellis, of course, the coordinator is Kane Womack. I don't know. Household names there.
I mean, what do you think, Kevin? Who do you think has the better coaches? I mean, Freeze has come in and recruited well in the state of Alabama. DeBoer seems to have recruited well nationally. I think there's positives and negatives for both. But that's why I think this year's so big for both of them.
Couldn't agree with you more. It's just in different levels and for different ways. This is a big year for both of them.
I believe it is
in my mind.
Gary's back on Colorado's Canada's population.
Yeah, Gary's my buddy from Canada. One of the great guys I know. He's the guy who listens in all the time from Amherstburg, Ontario, Canada. I ate lunch with him a couple of weeks ago. One of my favorites. Gary says, by the way, and he's Canadian as Canadian can be Canadian. He says, by the way, Canada's population about 41 million, still about the same as California. Okay. Yeah. And I've got no interest in annexing another country. It ain't happening. It
ain't happening. Barry, I have been to Canada before. I don't know if I've shared these stories with you, Gary. You might get a kick out of this. Years ago, when I was a kid, I actually took the train from Vancouver to Toronto. Some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen in my life. Going through the Canadian Rockies, unbelievable. I mean, went through towns like Moose Jaw and Saskatchewan, Medicine Hat, Banff,
Saskatoon.
Some of the cities there, the little towns you went through on the train. It was really cool. My brother and I did it with my parents. I was probably 14 when we did it, 14, 15. I was also crossing the border going from Detroit to Windsor, Canada,
which
I was in my 20s.
You're going south to get from Detroit to Windsor, Canada.
That is correct, because we wanted to go gamble in Windsor. There was casinos there. They weren't in Detroit. So we went over there, and I had my vehicle. I had driven up to that area when I was in Ypsilanti for a while. And we went across the border.
Been to Ypsilanti and Moose Jaw in his life. I'm telling you.
Try to spell Ypsilanti, folks. Just try to spell it without looking it up. It ain't easy. Going through border control or whatever, and I'm not thinking anything about it. No big deal. And the guy's looking through my vehicle. He opens up my console, and there is one 270 cartridge that you put in a rifle, deer hunt rifle. Had one of them that I'd left in my console from hunting season 3 months prior. Didn't think a thing of it.
You didn't have the rifle.
Did not have the rifle. Just had the 270 cartridge. This guy freaks out. Sir, pull your car over here. intense interrogation. They got the mirrors under the car. They got the dogs out there. Me and my buddy are in an interrogation room.
Did you hear the latex glove snap or anything?
I'm telling the guy, man, I'm just coming into Canada for like 3 hours. I'm going to gamble. We're coming right. We're zipping in. We're zipping out.
All my money with you.
Yeah, I'm zipping in and zipping out. Like, I mean, after about an hour, they let us go. But I'm thinking, I looked at my buddy. I said, what are Canadian prisons like? I'm thinking, what have we done here? This is unbelievable. But
oh my God,
it's a beautiful country. I will say it really is.
Dad.
It's pretty.
They finally assigned me. I'm up in the Yukon somewhere. They got a log cabin prison here, and
for what? Well, you heard about that guy that went to Turks and Caicos, and he had some ammunition. I mean, he was in prison for like 6 months. Some American,
I'm
yeah,
never
he just
going anywhere.
He didn't realize it. He had some, some cartridges that he went deer hunting with. They put him in prison in Turks and Caicos. I mean, that, their livelihood is based on Americans coming down there and sitting on the beach.
That's
why
right.
you putting them in? Why you throwing them in jail? The guy made an honest mistake, but woo,
yeah,
they do not play that game. I'm double sure. You know, I am, Barry, about my desk, where my stapler, my Scotch tape is, and all that.
It's got to be aligned perfectly with his desk blotter. It got to be exactly parallel. I used to go in there and I used to turn his Scotch tape dispenser 3 degrees counterclockwise. It got to the point where he didn't even not like he even noticed it. He just walked in, sat down, turned it 3 degrees the other way, and I don't think he even realized he did it. That's just yeah.
Well, I'm the same way. If I'm going out of the country, I'm laying everything out. I'm fully inspecting my bags. I don't want anything in that bag that I don't know's in there. Seen too many movies about people getting arrested. Don't want any part of it. Don't talk to the guys in custom. Just hand him your passport. If he says something to you, say something back.
Wait. So Bill from Baltimore says, I can relate, John. I had freshly ground coffee going through TSA, and I got flagged and had explosives come and pat me down and search me. For coffee? Yikes.
Yeah, no liquids in TSA. Okay. I was with a group of my buddies, and I won't reveal his name, but his name was one that was on like a TSA list. He has a pretty common name, so there's probably 1,000 people with that same name. He went through there, whoop, whoop, whoop. These TS agents are jumping all over him. He's thinking, what did I do? What did I do? And it was just, because he had the same name of some guy that was on a list. So that can happen too. If there's a Barry McKnight out there somewhere that they're looking for, it ain't you. They don't have anything personal against you.
I had a friend, this was just out of college, but I was still living in a college town. I've always lived in a college town now that I think about it. Friend of mine whose father had embraced Islam. I mean, he is of color, and his father embraced Islam and changed his name to an Islamic name.
Yep.
And obviously passed him down to his son. His son was not Islamic, but I'm not going to tell you his name, but it was an Islamic name. But he's as American as you and me. Never lived anywhere else, all that kind of stuff. And we were traveling somewhere, and he says that he was thinking about changing his name to like Derek Jones or something like that. Because he said, you cannot believe the problem I have getting on a flight. It ain't like what this is not his name, but like Akbar Ahmed or something like that.
Yeah.
You ain't just walking through security, evidently. So I mean,
I don't think so.
He's one of the finest people I know, and like I said, never lived anywhere else, never been anywhere else outside the country. But he's thinking, oh, Dad,
it's tough. Dennis wants to know, did I like Vancouver or Toronto better? I will tell you this, Dennis. Vancouver is one of the prettiest cities I've ever seen. It is really, really pretty in the Pacific Northwest. Toronto, to me, looked like a huge American city, kind of like New York. It's a big spot. I remember going up, they've got kind of a Space Needle thing like you see in Seattle.
The CN Tower. Yeah.
But it's a huge American city is what it looked like to me. Not Montreal is more French. It's more to its roots, I guess. Toronto's more American. Or at least it was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Tobias,
Oh,
at
yeah,
the
here we
bottom,
go.
747. I'm with you, Tobias. If Alabama would have made the playoffs, they would have lost. But the thing is, they made the playoff. I think that's what Bama fans, it irks them that we didn't make the playoff. That's why making the playoff this year is so important.
Are you telling me that there were 12 teams better than us? I don't think so. And
that's what they're saying.
With more panache and cachet, shouldn't we be the default? I mean, shouldn't they automatically put us in the playoffs at the beginning of the season, and then we have to play our way out?
Well, Barry, what really galled them, chapped them,
irritated them,
rubbed them the wrong way are the two teams in this, or two of the three teams that did get in, Texas and Tennessee. Wait a minute. This newcomer gets in year one, and these guys, of all people, Tennessee, really? That's what didn't fly real well.
I get it. Well, when we come back, some other sports news out there we're commenting on.
Oh, I got my FBI. I got my is it FBI or RP? I'm still looking. Oh, here. FBI.
Football Power Index.
There's a column I want to go over when we get back.
It's coming up. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with the Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Internet issues?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I just don't think we've got a commercial here. So
most anticipated games of 2025.
Ooh, this is still an ESPN offering.
Based
is it on ESPN Plus? Is it accessible only with your ESPN Plus subscription?
No, this is actually just went to ESPN.com, NCAA football. I think there's a picture of Heather Dinich with her sunglasses on.
Ooh.
And I just kept scrolling down, and it's a part of that same article. Most anticipated games of 2025 based on projected FPI ratings. Now, there again, I don't know how they project these. I don't know what FPI ratings are. But as I looked at these games, and they're combining these FPI ratings together to come up with a game quality score. And as I'm looking at all these teams that are listed, I'm thinking this is exactly what the TV networks want. They don't want Boise State and SMU, and I can go on and on and on. But Texas at Georgia, Texas at Ohio State, Alabama at Georgia, Georgia and Tennessee, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas at Florida, Georgia at Auburn, Alabama at South Carolina. Watch out for that game. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. I could go on and on and on down the list. I don't see any of these directional alphabet soup schools on this list.
And that's a shame. You know as well as I do, some of the great television you've ever seen. Look, every once in a while, Gilligan's Island had a show featured on the professor. It wasn't always Ginger. It wasn't always the skipper. It wasn't always Thurston and Lovey. Same thing with Andy Griffith. Every now and again, you got one with Aunt B. Because you want to explore other facets of your television.
Sometimes on Miami Vice they would feature Gina or Trudy or
Edward James Olmos or whoever, whatever his
Castillo. And NBC said, "No, hold on. We're spending millions and millions of dollars to produce this show. Put Tubbs and Crockett on every episode. I don't care. That's who people want to see, Tubbs and Crockett."
And then it got canceled after a little while because Philip Michael Thomas asked for too much money. I mean, that's
5 years. It had a 5-year run. Yeah. So
if you want to go long term, you've got to diversify some. You told me that about your stock. John gives me stock tips all the time.
I don't get too crazy out there. I like blue chips.
He's pretty conservative.
Same thing with my football. I like blue chip stocks. I like blue chip teams. And I get it. I'm looking at this list. I'm going, this is exactly what ESPN, ABC, and Fox want. And if True TV or TNT want to put, somebody else on, I am all for it. Knock yourself out. I'll support you wholeheartedly. But if I'm the big boy network, I'm putting these types of games on. And am I going to get bored if I see the same group of 10 or 15 teams on every week? Not really.
Yes. John, you get bored even with some of those games on there. Middle of the third quarter, Ohio State, Michigan is like 14-12, and John's like,
okay, maybe I only watch one half of some of these games,
which is
but
about
I can
the most
promise you,
expect
I'm not
from John.
watching 1 minute of. Let me pick a game here.
Tongue pop. Wow.
I don't know why I'm fixated on West Virginia, but they just don't. I don't watch a lot of
They're
West
a Power
Virginia.
4 school.
Yeah,
I thought he'd go North Texas or Abilene Christian.
Well, I'm definitely not watching them.
Or
that's
Western Kentucky or Lamo.
How about
or something like
NC
that.
State versus Syracuse? I ain't watching that game. I got a bet on it.
Like for just a moment?
If I got a bet on it, I might. I've been
Even then, it would take a lot.
Yeah, maybe it's just because of the time of day. I will watch the old Pac-12 at night. You might have like a Southern Cal, Oregon State game in mid-October at 10 o'clock at night. I might check that out a little bit, but nah.
You're missing so much.
These games,
pageantry, the stories, the inner stories, the backstories of some of these players. The quarterback for Syracuse who got beat out at Ohio State and still has aspirations of NFL dreams. John misses that. Why? So he can watch Nico Iamaleava again or see, oh, man, is Jackson Dart ever going to win a big game? Over and over and over again.
One thing that does disturb me, Barry, about this quality football rating here, game quality is what they call it. Game quality.
Right.
I wish I would see another game involving Auburn that doesn't involve their two biggest rivals. I feel like those teams are kind of pushing them into this game quality category. I wish I could say Auburn's standing on its own to get there, but maybe I'm wrong, but Georgia and Auburn, Alabama and Auburn are putting them in the game quality panel here. Where's Auburn, Ole Miss, or who? Let me see who Auburn's playing this year.
Auburn,
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Auburn at Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's a big one. Auburn, their schedule, like we said before, their schedule much more manageable than it was last year, even if you can say that with Georgia and Alabama on there. Auburn, Kentucky at Jordan-Hare. Can you name in your life, and I know you've paid attention, any special moment, any fascinating detail about any Auburn, Kentucky game ever?
Yes.
Oh, I remember one time when Jared Lorenzen had a crucial third down keeper on a conversion to help. Is there any moment like?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a game in Lexington was critical for Auburn in 2010 that Cam Newton, I think, had a run to win the game 20-17, something like that.
It was a very close game, 13-10 or something like that. You may be right on that, but does that mean it's not going to be a good game? I don't care if it's a good game. I want to see this team again.
Yeah, I'm not patient enough, Barry, I'm not patient enough for it to play out to see if it's going to be a good game. But knowing I've got two helmet schools going at it, kicking things off, and then if it kind of stinks midway through the second quarter, this game's not as good as I thought it was going to be, then I can move on. But I'm not going to just jump in head first and go, I hope this game's good.
How can you live your life like that? I ain't gonna go watch this frou-frou movie at the Capri with French subtitles and everything.
Uh-huh.
Give me Rambo, give me Rocky, give me well, not every movie. Give me Ty Webb, give me Lacey Underall, give me, don't give me Jackie Mason, but give me what I know I'm getting. By the way, I was totally wrong. The game I was thinking of in 2010, the Cam Newton game, was the Mississippi State game that they won close. In 2010, Auburn went to Lexington in early October in 2010, and Auburn won that game 37-34.
Oh, see, I knew it was tight. And I think
you're
Cam
right.
did something at the end.
It was a key late play by Cam Newton that either won it or salted it away, something like that.
Yeah, that was a good one. I bet CJ Duncan remembers that. He's going to join us after our next break. We're going to take a quick top of the hour time out and come back. CJ Duncan, he's been out of the country. He's a married man. We're going to talk about it when we return.
Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. And June is really a fun time out at Marguerite's, Marianne. The birthstone, I believe, is pearls, and I know you've got a lot of pearls.
Yes, we got them right here. So exciting. Lots of pearls. It's Pearl Month. Yes.
It is Pearl Month, and Marguerite's has plenty of pearls for you to check out. Also, June's a big month for weddings. It's so wedding gifts, birth gift, push presents, I know are very popular as well. Tell us about some of those great ideas.
Sure. Well, guys, just so you're not caught off guard, there are certain expectations these days, or maybe not expectations. That sounds bad. But the person you love would definitely appreciate a gift for certain occasions, like a wedding gift, the wedding band, the engagement ring. Those are great, but just a little something that her maid of honor can hand her. And so she can unwrap it. It's a big picture situation. Write a sweet little letter, but we have those great gifts at Marguerite's, wedding day gifts. And ladies, if you're listening, we have great watches and cufflinks for guys too. But guys, come in, think about it. Great classic gifts, something that they can remember from their wedding day. Diamond studs, a tennis bracelet, pearl earrings, pearl studs, those types of things. Just really great gifts, as well as push presents, which if you're wife goes into labor or granddad's to be, if your daughter does, it's just a sweet gift to commemorate maybe their initial or their birthstone. We can help you. We have lots of great options in stock. And of course, we always can make it for you if you have something special in mind.
That's a great point, Marianne. Lots of great options. And Marianne just laid them all out there for you, folks. There are so many great jewelry items, so many great gift items for you to check out there at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Let our viewers and listeners know, Marianne, where are you located there on Vaughn Road?
Sure. We're at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center. We're open 7 days a week. We are open 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
It's a big month out at Marguerite's in June, so go by and see Marianne and all the staff at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Hey, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, a couple of minutes after the 8 o'clock hour. Glad you're with us here. Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News. Check it out, yellowhammernews.com for all the latest news, politics, lifestyle, and sports. You'll check us out there as well. Really appreciate those guys doing a great job. Also, you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify. So many ways to check out what we do and get our content. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We would really appreciate it. Hey, joining us now is CJ Duncan here on the program. CJ, man, good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing?
We're doing really well. I told somebody was asking where you were. This is off the air. Somebody was asking last week, where CJ was. They missed you on the program. And I said, and he started to say this, and I stopped him because I said, CJ told us before of his career at Vanderbilt. Part of it was spent as a punt returner. So please don't throw the thing about a punt returner who actually knows what it's like to outpunt his coverage. Nobody's ever told an actual punt returner that they outpunted the coverage. But congratulations, CJ.
Thank you. Yes, I have been out of the country for a couple weeks. My wife and I, we did a bit of a delayed honeymoon. We got married February 16th of 2024, but life was, of course, incredibly busy during that time. That's right in the middle of legislative session, so that was a smart move on our part. But so we decided to punt it a year, and so we were finally able to get some one-on-one time, and it was much needed.
I'm glad you clarified that, because somebody said I thought they got married. I said, that's awesome. That's outstanding.
That is. CJ sent me. I didn't realize you were gone, and one of our texts, he sent me a picture. I went, wow, man, great locale. So I know you had a great time. I know it was a ton of fun and well deserved. I can imagine. So yes.
No, it was great. Truly a different world over there. Got to disconnect for a little while, but happy to be back in routine now.
Let's talk a little bit about what is going on here in the 1st of June. We have wrapped up the SEC spring meetings, and more than anything else, John and I are both startled by the lack of activity. Nothing seems to have happened. Would you say that there is a lack of leadership or decision making in the SEC? What's causing all of this inactivity? Is everybody lawyering up? Are there legal issues? John and I both are impatient. What's taking so long, CJ?
You know what? I'm sitting with you guys. I'm not exactly sure what to do about or what to say about any of it. To be honest with you, it's everything is all so new and so unfamiliar. It's hard to know exactly which direction this thing is headed in.
Well, it seems like everybody's in a holding pattern, CJ. And when SEC meetings were going on last week, I said on the show, look, I've heard this, but we've been talking about these things for 3 years now, whether it's 9 conference games, 16 playoff slots, whether we have one transfer portal window right after the championship game in January, whatever. But nobody wants to do anything until this House settlement is reached, which I understand is any day now. And then it seems like the floodgates are going to open then. So hopefully there will be something happening, because not only are the fans getting frustrated, there's no doubt the coaches and the athletic directors and the commissioners are getting frustrated as well, because they've got to make plans for the future. They got to realize, what are we doing in 4 years from now, 10 years from now? And everything's at a screeching halt.
I agree. I mean, essentially, they're running a business and not knowing what the forecast looks like going ahead, right? And it's hard to plan. It's hard to be strategic. It's hard to get that competitive advantage. It's hard to even recruit, not knowing exactly what you're dealing with, right? And you're kind of held in this limbo without any leverage. The players right now still have a lot of leverage, and especially the high school or the transferees. So it makes it very difficult to coach, to be on the administrative side, to be a commit, whatever it is. It's hard to run this business that we all know and love because there are so many unknowns.
CJ, were you out of the country at the time and miss Vanderbilt being the first #1 overall?
No, I know you're not going there. I know you're not going to bring that up.
The regionals.
You know what? I got back in the. You know what? Listen, we will take it. We won't be sore losers. We know other teams that would not have taken the loss as well. But you know what? It happens. We finished the SEC season up very strong. I believe we beat Tennessee 10-0 at some point in that tournament, and we finished off by beating Ole Miss as well. So there's a lot of things to take from this season that we can grow and build on going into next season. I'm happy and proud of our team and our coach. Our coach went viral based on his comments about our troops and things of that nature. So we still got a lot to look forward to in the future. We do,
Yeah.
but
Oh, wow.
definitely disappointed. There is a standard for Vanderbilt baseball, and I'm sure Coach Corbin would say the same thing.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Speaking of Vanderbilt, I saw one of Alabama's high-profile players, Ryan Williams. I think he's on the cover of EA Sports or something like that, and he threw a little fire at Vanderbilt, talking about the matchup upcoming this season. He said, going into this game, we don't call them revenge games. We're going to kill an ant with a sledgehammer this year, said the wide receiver when he sat down with former NFL head coach John Gruden. Every game felt short last year. We definitely got red eyes going into them this year. And, of course, Diego Pave, the Vanderbilt quarterback, commented on some of these comments that Ryan Williams made as well. What do you think about this time of year? A little trash talking 3-4 months before the season starts.
You know what? I respect it, right? You know, it's kind of like that Michael Jordan quote where it's like a real man talks when he's down, not when he's up, kind of thing. And so, listen, right now, Alabama's in this situation is considered down. They're the ones who lost last year to Vanderbilt. And right now, for us, there's no need to respond. You still got to roll the ball out and play. You know what I mean? And Bama has a lot of questions. We don't have a lot of questions. A lot of our guys return. So we just have to continue to work. We have to continue to get better this all season. This is the time of year where you actually become a better player, better individual. You become a better team through camp and things like that. But as an individual, when you're in the weight room, when you're doing the conditioning tests and all those types of things, you're working with your quarterback or you're working with your linebackers and safeties. This is where you get better as an individual player. And so that's what we need to be focused on, because at the end of the day, you still got to roll the ball out and play. And so, kudos to Ryan Williams for talking while he's down. But I am very sure that we'll be ready for Mr. Williams. The quarterback still got to get him the ball. He's a great player, but the quarterback still got to deliver the ball.
And at this point, we're not real sure who Alabama's quarterback is going to be. We know who Vanderbilt is going to be.
Exactly.
I want to ask you about this because you mentioned it briefly about and I couldn't agree with you more. This is the time of the year when you make your team, CJ. You've said that before in previous visits. This is the time of year. But I want to ask about this because here I am. I'm in Troy right now, and I go to campus every day, and there's academic camps, there's softball camps going on for kids, there's a football camp, a youth camp going on right now, there's an elite camp coming up. Everybody has those, the camps for not just the young campers who are just 10 years old, we're trying to work on skills or something like that, but some of those elite camps. CJ, can you share some of your experiences when you were growing up, how important these camps were? Do you remember your first one?
I do. One of my first camps was like an overnight football camp at Auburn, which was a great experience. It was my first time kind of on my own without my parents nearby, kind of thing. And so really it just kind of taught me responsibility and discipline and having a routine. And, I was really, really young when that happened. But, as you get older, when it's time for high school and it's time to start getting recruited, when you go to these elite camps, you don't want to just go. Right, you don't want to just show up because you saw a flyer online or you got one at a game or whatever it is. If you're going to a team's camp, if you're going to a university's camp, you want to know a coach there already. You want them to know that you're there. You want them to know that you're coming to perform in front of them, that gives you the best opportunity to be seen, right? Because you could easily get lost in the shuffle. When you go to these camps, there's 500 people there. There's, there's a ton of folks, especially these big state schools. And so it's really, I think, imperative to already kind of have made contact with the team, with the coaches, camp, and then putting the floor once you get there.
Yeah, how do you separate yourself? You're right, because there's a lot of kids at these camps. You probably don't have a lot of time to do it because there's so many running through it. But how do you separate yourself from everybody else?
Oh, let's hope we didn't.
Well, the team will do it for you. You're in that camp. The coaches say, all right, numbers this through that, y'all go on that field, and then everybody else is on the other field. And so everyone continues to have their camp experience, but the guys that they're truly looking at, they are actually going to send them to a different field, and they're basically competing. It's a group of maybe 8 to 10 guys that are literally or 7-on-7, whatever it may be. But the team itself, they will actually kind of separate the guys that they know they're there, the guys that they want to take an extra look at, guys that could potentially play on their team or they believe to be of that caliber, and they'll send them to a totally different area of the few fields that they have there on campus, and they'll do their own kind of individual private workout.
I remember interviewing another player.
And so that's why it's imperative to.
I'm sorry, CJ. It was breaking.
I'm sorry. No, but I was. Uh-oh. Can you guys got me here?
Yep, we got you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No. But that's why it's imperative for you to kind of be in contact with those coaches prior to, so they know when it is time to separate you from the pack. They know you're there to have that private workout.
I got one final question here for you, and then we'll let you go. Appreciate you. I was talking with an SEC player like you, a former SEC player, a high-level productivity guy, did a lot and everything, and I was asking him about his camp experiences. He said the one thing he didn't know when he first started going to the elite camps was that the coaches, they look at everything. I mean, they want to see how you interact with the other campers. He said they had a guy, one of the guys that was with him at an elite camp who later played somewhere else in the SEC. He dumped trash outside the hotel room, was disrespectful to one of the maids or something like that, and they sent him off. I mean, they're looking at everything, CJ. What kind of a guy you are, what kind of habits you have.
I agree with that completely. I think as soon as they can put eyes on you, they're watching you, and they're going to go ask other people about how, what their interactions were like with you, and how you interact with your parents, and what kind of energy do you bring to the camp, right? Do you have your hoodie on and you're kind of separated because you're too good for everybody else? Are you that guy, or are you like, hey, guys, this is another day for us to get better? Are you the reason that everybody else has a good attitude and is in good spirits, and you're bringing energy to the camp? Those are the kind of guys they want on their team, guys that just love ball. And it's very easy to tell if you love ball or if you love money, right? And so I think they're trying to decipher those things as soon as you walk on campus. But I do think that is very real. I think guys get scholarships and don't get scholarships, but sometimes, you have schools where the talent will breed a little bit of, the coaches may put up with a little bit of attitude or whatever it may be, but more times than not, usually they want good locker room guys that are also good athletes.
Yeah.
Man, that's very well said. That would be a good speech to some high school kids, CJ. Maybe you can make the circuit and do that, because that's very well said. I think that's very educational. A lot of young men can certainly use that advice. Well, CJ, I know you're busy today. Y'all dressed up. Looks like some big time legislation or business is about to take place.
Yeah, we're up in D.C. The Alabama Business Coalition has us up here about once a month now that the session down in Alabama is done, and we're connecting with a lot of our Congress members and their staffers, and making sure we're on the up and up and make sure they know about.
Awesome. Love it.
It is great to have you back, CJ. We appreciate it. Look forward to talking with you again soon.
Always a pleasure, guys. It's good to be back. I'll see y'all next week.
Look forward to it. Yes, sir. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, up in D.C. joining us today. We really appreciate his input. Barry, that last segment right there, talking about, the game, why you present yourself, thinking you're better than everybody, walking around in a hoodie. I'm thinking, man, CJ could be a great teacher, educator for young men that are going through that process about the right way to do it.
Yeah, just, again, like he said, are you the one bringing the energy or are you the one sucking the energy out?
I've been a big believer of you never have a second chance to make a first impression. That first impression has got to be, there again, very impressive.
And he's right. Some coaches, because either of the talent level of the player or the lack of talent on his own team, they'll put up with some stuff sometimes. Yep. But if you've got, for instance, back in the day when you had 25 scholarships to give a year, 25, and they're trying to make a decision on number 24 or number 25, do we want to give it to this kid or we want to give it to that kid? More times than not, that's the deciding factor. What kind of a kid is he? Because you don't want any prima donnas as your number 25 scholarship offer. Mm-hmm. You don't want anybody that's projects as a second team offensive tackle in his career, play a lot of snaps, can move up and down the line of scrimmage, and that guy be a headache. No, a lot of times that's what gets you the scholarship over somebody else who may be just as talented as you are, or maybe even a little bit more. So It's a true story.
It certainly is. Hey, Mal gives us a breakdown of the Auburn-Kentucky game in 2010. Right. I knew it was a big game. I didn't know all the details, but I appreciate Mal laying it out there for us.
Yeah, Auburn started the winning field goal drive versus Kentucky at their own 7 or 8 yard line. Cam completed a pass to Adams on 3rd down and long to keep the drive going. I believe Auburn was around the 10 on the play, and I remember that. Darvin Adams, one of the more underrated players in Auburn history. And that game, 37-34. So it's not like they would have lost if they hadn't scored, but they sure needed that score. But that's about the only, to the point, that's about the only Kentucky highlight I can ever see. John was talking about games that you want to see just because of the name and the brand and the panache and the cachet of the opponent, and some others, the networks are going, I'm thinking they got to put on a lot of programming a lot of times. You can't always have Gilligan and the skipper arguing with each other and Marianne and Ginger showing up in bikinis. You got to have a little, what's Lovey up to? What's her deal? What's the story with the professor,
So here's how I'm going to answer
that radio, the transmitter.
This one. And this just is another prime example of opposites attract. The longevity of this duo is based in part on things like this. I made this statement many times before. Hey, Barry, man, last night they had a replay of the Alabama-Penn State goal line stand game. Oh, it was great. Now, wait a minute, John. Game 2 of the World Series was on. Yeah, whatever. But I was watching Alabama-Penn State when Matt Gooman tried to go over the top. Remember that game? Barry's rolling his eyes. Wait a minute. You watched
everybody knows, everybody who's paid attention, everybody who's been around Alabama fan even a little bit knows that Gooman's going to go for it. They hand it to him. Is it Chuck Fusina who hands it to him? And beforehand, evidently, the legend tells us that Marty Lyons is telling the offensive lineman, you better pass. And y'all don't get teary-eyed on me here. But
and to hear Keith Jackson go, he didn't make it. He didn't make it.
And Barry Krause, like cracked a disc in his neck or something like that. And just, come on. Come on. And you know it. And you're still watching it.
Yeah.
You're still watching it. Was it 79 down at the Sugar Bowl?
It was no. That was the Arkansas win. This was like 77, something like that.
Okay.
They beat Ohio State. That wasn't for the Natty. Then the next year they beat Penn State, and then they beat Arkansas. The back 78, 79. 78, 79.
This is what I'm talking about. He can tell you everything about those games and everything. He knows exactly what happened. He knows, watch this play call. Can you believe he dropped this pass? Man, if he had caught that pass, then they would have been, he can tell you the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
now, game 2 of the World Series,
where you don't know what's going on, could care less. Ooh, here's the one. Watch this block Shula throws from Al Bell.
Sure, the reverse.
Years
that was a 4th down play. They call it reverse.
Just stop it. Stop it.
I can tell you, Barry, when David Justice.
Imagine sitting there and watch. I mean, I watch old games, a pretty good bit. But if it comes to like something new or something that's happening now, and John says, "Nah, I don't think so."
And then I go, "Hey, kids, come here. Y'all got to see this." And they're rolling their eyes. And go,
"There goes Dad again."
Haven't we seen this already? Like 10 times before?
No. Yeah,
now, I can tell you, Barry, that David Justice closed his eyes, swung from the hip, ball went over the fence. They beat
against
the
Jose
Indians.
Mesa.
Yeah, but won the World Series. I think it was game 6 or something. I don't know. I was there, but that's all I remember.
Here's what, you know why that's all he remembers? Because he was sitting over there with his Bud Light looking up, man. Check out that dude up there.
Now, actually, I looked at the back of my ticket stub and went, "Hey, look at this. Get in the Gold Club free after the game."
Oh, what just happened? Why is everybody jumping up and down? What?
They're not jumping up and down because of the Phantom's daily dog, unfortunately. We'll get to that when we get back.
Yep. Also a visit from Josh Harris, our Moneyline magician from north of the border. It's coming up as well. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore in McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Howdy, welcome back in about 28 minutes past the hour. Also, remember to always check us out at yellowhammernews.com. You can check us out there. Always a good avenue if you want to check out what's going on with the show. Yellowhammernews.com. Also news, politics, lifestyle, and sports. Great news source there for you. So last night, if I believe, I don't know if it was the 7th or the 8th inning in a game between the Milwaukee Brewers at the Cincinnati Red, the game was tied.
Yes.
It was tied at one point late in the game.
And then, John.
Yeah, it was tied 2-2, I believe. And then the Reds somehow, some way, scratched over a couple of runs, and then that was
the 7th, one in the 8th.
Yeah.
Reds win, 4-2, the final score.
So that was a tough one. But can't win them all, they say. So, Barry, today, we've turned the page. We're moving on. We are looking at a game today that I believe, let me see, get the exact start time here so everybody.
This is Major League Baseball. Again.
Major League Baseball. We don't want anybody to miss out. This game's at 5:45 this afternoon. Believe it or not, it is the only game that goes off at 5:45. It is the Chicago Cubs at the Washington Nationals.
You know, Houston and Pittsburgh, for some reason, they thought it would be a good idea to start their game at 5:40.
Yeah.
Not good enough for Cubs and Washington. They say, no.
Nope.
5:45. Feel good?
5:45. 6:45 local time in the DC
it is
area
in
there.
Washington. It is at Nationals Park. And before we hear the story again, John's been to Nationals Park before.
Well, I've walked by it. I've never been
Park.
inside of it, but I've walked by it. It's down there at the Navy Yard.
Has?
I'm sorry?
Number 2 daughter has?
Number 1 daughter. She lives there. She lives in D.C. She has been to several Nationals games and Capitals hockey games. She loves the ice.
Now,
the Capitals games.
Yeah, John loves the ice too. Mostly it's in his
in the
old granddad or something.
I like the big ball ice. The pour scotch over.
Let's be perfectly honest. We do not know whether number 1 daughter will be at this game tonight.
I don't believe so.
The Cubs and the Nationals.
Cubs
are
and the
having
Nationals.
a really good year.
Leading the Central Division of the National League.
Somebody would have you believe that 80% of the Nationals games are against the Atlanta Braves. They're not. Nationals 4 games under 500 as they host the Cubs tonight at 5:45 in the nation's capital.
But they are a half a game ahead of those Atlanta Braves you just mentioned.
I was trying to get through that. Without that mention, yes.
So, the Nationals tonight at home.
Yesterday.
Yeah. We can get to that too. Washington hosting the Chicago Cubs, as you mentioned, leading the Central Division of the National League by 5 games over St. Louis at this point. But, Barry, tonight, the Washington Nationals, who have lost 2 in a row, while the Cubs have won 3 in a row, are in a pinch here. They are a home team dog tonight, catching plus 120 at home. We are going with them tonight. On the mound tonight, let's see where I had that. That's on the next page.
On the mound for the Chicago Cubs is left-hander Matthew Boyd. He's one of those journeyman lefties who's been around for a little while. Older guy, he's 34, but he's 5-2 this year against left-hander for the Nationals. His name is Mackenzie Gore.
Not related to Al, I don't believe.
Is everybody named Gore who's in Washington left wing? I don't know.
He is left-handed.
Yeah.
So we're going with Mackenzie Gore tonight against Matthew Boyd, catching plus 120 at home, 5:45 first pitch.
Nationals Television, Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, Cubs Network on the Marquee Sports Network. It used to be WGN back when life was the way it should be, and Ronnie was kicking butt and taking names in the White House and telling the Huskies where they could get off. And Belinda Carlisle had gone solo from the Go-Go's, but not anymore. We've messed things up. So now
it is a different day and age. You're exactly right about that.
So here we go.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Josh here. I'm not sure my text has crossed the Canadian border yet to get a response. It's no big deal. Well, we can certainly work on the fly here And so we get him lined up.
Yeah.
You know, I always want, I did have to call, you know, my number 2 daughter was in Europe last week or so. I guess it's like a week or so. And she texts me and say, hey, I need for you to call up the cell company. I need an international plan. I went, oh boy, what's this going to cost me? It wasn't that bad. You know, like 10 days for like $20 or something. So she could text and, you know, all that kind of stuff and whatnot. And I remember asking.
That didn't happen in Moose Jaw when John was there.
No.
That was back in the day when they didn't have cell phones.
Rotary phones.
It was not an issue.
But I did ask the lady that I was speaking to, I said, do you have to have an international plan in Canada and Mexico? And she said, no, you do not. That is part of your U.S. plan. So anybody out there that was ever wondering about that or heading south of the border or north of the border, you do not have to have an international plan in those countries.
This is the same guy who used to call the cell phone company and said, do you have to have a different plan for like uncivilized areas? And they said, no, our plan works anywhere. Okay, fellas, we can go to Auburn. Game's on. Let's go.
Well, you know, the young people today, though, Barry, they weren't spots. They were big areas where you didn't get any cell service. You had to be in a metropolitan area to use your phone. So if you were driving to, Montgomery to Tuscaloosa, by the time you got out of Prattville, there was no cell service till you got to Tuscaloosa. Nothing in Centerville, nothing in Maplesville, nothing in wherever other Brent or wherever you're going through to get to Tuscaloosa. Forget it. Not there.
Well, I'm here to tell you, for anybody who has made significant travels on Highway 231 between Montgomery and Troy, just a little bit past where you get past what the Bama fans made a big deal of, the cattle company, the Auburn enrollment billboard that had the cow on the top.
Oh,
boy,
yeah.
They loved that. Right over there at Trotman Road.
That's
you get
right.
past Trotman Road right before you get to the Parkman Cattle Company on the right, right before you get to Sykes and Cons. Major outage right there. If I'm talking to somebody on my cell phone heading south, I will lose them every time. And I'm thinking, when is Musk going to get together and get this like free internet from the satellite?
Yeah.
You can just, there's no outage.
I think the cable companies call that a dead spot.
Yeah.
And there are a few of those from time to time.
All right.
I think, Barry, I told you I had to travel from Troy to Lillian, Alabama, Perdido, to get there, I actually got a map that you get at a rest stop.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Oh, yeah, one of those.
And the kids today don't have a clue what a map is because they just punch it into their phone or their car. But I wanted to see on a map exactly where was I driving through. After I got to Elba and Opp, I went through an area between Opp and where I got on I-10 that I thought, if I have a flat tire, they might not find me for a week.
Oh, there's a place let's call it like Mom's Kitchen, and it's got a gas station across from there. That's the only sign that human beings have touched that part of the planet is Mom's Restaurant.
Yeah.
South of Opp.
And I'm on like on what looks to be kind of a, highway that people are familiar with. And my Waze system says in 1.5 miles, take a right on County Road 14. And County Road 14 looked like they haven't put any striping on it in probably 50 years. I did not pass a car either way for at least 20 miles. And it's dark. It's 9:30 at night. I'm thinking, where in the world am I? And the exit that I got on I-10, I had to look it up. I said, where in the world on I-10 am I? I crossed into Okaloosa County, Florida, and I'm thinking, this is the same county Fort Walton's in.
Yeah.
This does not look like I'm in Okaloosa County.
Goes from the Gulf straight to the Alabama state line. And I mean, you've got a sign that says Ron DeSantis welcomes you to the state of Florida. Buy your lottery tickets here. And they've got this, if I remember the correct, because Dee and I have been that a bunch of times. some little bar that's got some seafaring thing, even though they're like 30 miles away from the beach there in northern.
And I'm trying to think, is that the easiest way to get to Pensacola from Troy?
Yeah.
Whew,
it is.
man.
I mean, because we go to Pensacola every year for the Sun Belt basketball tournament.
Yeah.
And you gotta have some faith in things. There's no question. Well, we'll take a break. Hopefully we'll get to
we'll see we can get him going
north of the border with our Moneyline magician Josh Harris. If not, no sweat. We got content. We always have content. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Glad you're with us in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud.
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you are with us here today. About 18 minutes until the top of the hour. I have had some withdrawals, so to speak, because there's been no NBA, but tomorrow night that will change at 7:30 on ESPN, where the Oklahoma City Thunder are at home. They get the home court advantage. They are laying 9.5 to the Indiana Pacers tomorrow night with a total of 231.5.
Might that be a phantom daily dog selection for tomorrow?
Don't know. Don't know. Been doing pretty well in Major League Baseball. We might have to stick with baseball diamond.
But the Phantom's been killing it in the NBA.
So we'll see. Now I got to tell you this. I mean, I'm not being critical. I'm not, being negative here, but love Sonny Smith. But okay, whatever. Let me get past that. Baseball. SEC baseball, ridicule, not surprising, but valid. No, don't want to hear that.
He's talking about Philip Marshall.
Yeah.
Auburn.
Talented. Here's what we get.
Coffee with Philip, Wednesday morning musings, links of interest, and more. Philip, of course, he doesn't have his little sub byline under there, senior college football editor. It just says Philip.
Here it is, early June. Let me give my readers and fans something to get excited about.
All right.
Maybe I'm naive, but I don't put much stock in Jackson Arnold's struggles at Oklahoma last season, with a decimated receiving core and an injury-plagued offensive line. According to those who know, he has NFL tools. That's all I need to know.
There you go.
Is that the same as a guy? I don't put much stock in a guy that rushed for 1,500 yards against teams whose defenses were 74th or lower out of the 131 teams in all of college football.
That's much different. That's a ton different. And I'll tell you why. Because that guy, Montgomery's own Cam Petway, did it.
Yeah.
He actually did it. These numbers actually happened against the schedule put in front of him. Jackson Arnold ain't never done it. I mean, has he? I mean, is that are there similarities in a guy who? Now, look, the only thing I've got to say about that, and Philip, I respect what he does and how he does it. And goodness knows he's been doing it for 50-something years.
Better believe it.
But it won't be the first time, might not be the second time, but it will definitely be by the third time that Jackson Arnold throws for a $137, 11 for 24, two picks, no touchdowns, and Auburn loses by 11. That excerpt that you just read will disavow any knowledge that he ever wrote that, ever felt that, or ever had somebody tell him that.
Don't you worry, Barry, because I've got a Philip file. So I just copy, move, Philip file, boom, paste.
Which means
future
John
reference.
must have a big memory in his laptop there.
But, if you're going to give me that Jackson Arnold didn't have a receiving core and didn't have an offensive line, then he's going to be a lot better now. Oh, okay. All right. I will wait and we'll see.
Now,
time will tell.
Some other things out there that you would not know if it were not for Philip. Former Auburn Heisman Trophy winner Cam Newton is on the ballot for the College Football Hall of Fame for the first time. He should be a shoo-in, but even 14 plus years after he played his final game at Auburn, he creates a range of emotions. And that's true. That's true. So 2 quick questions, and then I promise we'll go to the wheel. 2 quick questions. And I want to get, I don't know if I even got to this yesterday. Better choice to go in the College Football Hall of Fame first, Cam Newton or Mark Ingram? We talked about that yesterday. And both John and I think Mark Ingram, just because of how long he was able to do it. Cam Newton played at a high level for 1 year. Which is a better candidacy, John? 2 choices. Which is a better candidacy? Cam Newton's candidacy into the College Football Hall of Fame, or Cam Newton's candidacy into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Which one does he stand a better chance, even if he never gets into it? Which one does he stand a better chance of being
well, just thinking on the fly here.
Won a national championship in college, played in a Super Bowl.
Won a
Heisman Trophy in college, won an NFL MVP, played for longer in the NFL, obviously, than he did in college.
Did Mark Ingram did not play on a Super Bowl team?
No.
But he did play in the league a long time. I don't see Mark Ingram being in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Do you see Cam?
Who beat them in that Super Bowl? Was it the Patriots?
I think it was.
Probably a pretty good guess.
Yeah.
I know there's been some quarterbacks that played in Super Bowls, but they did not win them. That did not make the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
it was the Panthers have actually played in 2 Super Bowls. They played in 2004 behind Jake Delhomme. And, of course, in the Cam Super Bowl, they lost to the Broncos. In 20. I knew that because DeMarcus Ware was playing for the Broncos. He and I talked about that in an interview we did. Yeah, that was the Denver Broncos.
So
the
There again, I don't know all of Cam Newton's statistics, passing, rushing, QBR, whatever you want to call it. But I will say this, whatever those statistics were, Barry, he was playing against quality opposition each and every Sunday. And I get it. The National Football League only consists of 32 teams, not 131. Right. But of those 32, even the worst team has got some really good athletes on it.
Right.
I'm not so sure some of the defenses who was that kid again from Millbrook? What was his name? Petway?
Cam Petway.
When he's going up against Abilene Christian and Texas Baptist and UT Chattanooga, and Vanderbilt was the highest rated defense he faced all season, I don't think those stats are the same.
I don't think Vanderbilt was the highest rated defense, but this is something that's stuck in John's mind. Cam Petway is now 30-something years old, and he coaches
nothing
high school
against the young
football.
man. Nothing against the young man at all.
But he wasn't as good as his numbers. All right.
Barry,
sales managers tell us that you're only as good as your numbers.
I've used this argument, the analogy the same way. If I'm playing Major League Baseball and that left field wall is only 320 feet, but a guy over here at this stadium, it's 340, I think I got an advantage to hit more home runs than he does.
Still got to do it, though. Well, do we have another? I think we have another break.
Let's take another break, and then we're going to spin the wheel because I see it loaded, ready to go. So, Chris, don't worry.
It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
All right, here we go. 9 minutes to the top of the hour. Buckle up.
Here we are.
Chris, we're about to get it going.
All right.
The Victoryland 777 topic wheel, you see it right there. So chances of blue and yellow, or is it blue and green?
Blue and green.
Blue and green. All right.
Yesterday we ended up blue and yellow. Okay, here we go.
We did. All right, Gurn, get it going. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. You can be a winner too. And it lands on
Wrong Way RIP. I know this one. Jim Marshall. I wish we had the clip. He was one of the members of the fabled Purple People Eaters. That's a very now watch what happens here. This is against the Niners. It's at Metropolitan Stadium, Bloomington, Minnesota.
Throws, completes it to Kilmer up at the 30-yard line. Kilmer driving for the first down, loses the football. It's picked up by Jim Marshall, who's running the wrong way. Marshall is running the wrong way. And he's running it into the end zone the wrong way. Thinks he scored a touchdown. He has scored a safety.
Ooh.
Yeah. Jim Marshall was a great player. Played on those Purple People Eater teams with Alan Page and Carl Eller and those way back when. Really good player for a long time, and that's what he's known for.
So, Barry, did I hear that clip correctly? The pass was to Billy Kilmer? I thought Billy Kilmer.
It was from Billy Kilmer. Kilmer threw it.
Okay, I thought I heard the guy say he caught it. I went, wait a minute, that guy's a quarterback. They didn't run a trick play on us, did they?
Anyway, so Jim Marshall passes away yesterday. Good guy.
Good wait a minute. Theodis, are you telling me he was 42 and still playing in the NFL? Wow.
I
didn't realize that. Man, was he the one that was in politics, or was that Alan Page?
No, that was very good. That was Alan Page. It was very. He was political. I think Alan Page ended up being a Supreme Court justice in the state of Minnesota.
Was he as whack as that governor Minnesota's got now?
Or as cool as Jesse Ventura?
Yeah. Whatever happened to getting that guy back in office and getting the Terminator back in California? Come on.
Here we go. All right. That's a good one, Gurn.
That's a good one. That was a good one. All right, here we go. Spinning around. Victoryland 777 topic wheel is going to stop on
enhanced games. Swimming world body to banish athletes and supporters of doping-fueled events in Las Vegas. Right? Who's that chick? Let's see.
They got a lot of great pools in Vegas, Barry. I got to tell you. Woo, they're known for their pools.
Swimmers and officials who compete in and support a doping-fueled sports event planned in Vegas will be banished from the sport. The governing body World Aquatics said on Tuesday, this is a swimming event. They call it the Enhanced Games. They're saying, yeah, steroids, yeah, load yourself up. Here we go. All we want are human beings to be able to set world records. You know, it doesn't matter.
Go through a phase like that when guys were hitting a bunch of home runs. Didn't that happen?
We had a lot of, I remember the fabulous sports babe. Remember her? She said, who cares? Who cares? I don't care if they're doping, if they're, shooting up steroids and everything.
Yeah.
Those guys are, 270 pounds with no body fat and they're hitting 500 feet. I don't care. If they,
if it's their testicles shrinking, it's their problem, not mine. Yeah. Never understood what was
I had not seen that, Gurn.
Thrill of that. That's a good one. Man, Gurn's coming strong today.
Yeah.
All right, let's get it going. Victoryland 777 topic wheel.
We need to hit up on the topic wheel. College baseball coaches misbehaving. You got to do that.
Yeah.
Who's
wow.
Your horse?
There's the
it's the
third
finale.
part of the
It's
Triple
Belmont.
Crown is on. Maybe the Phantom should pick a dog at Belmont.
Yeah, let's see. Sovereignty, Rodriguez, Bob Baffert's training Rodriguez, Crudo, Baeza, journalism. Journalism never results in any money.
Where is interdisciplinary studies running this week?
Journalism.
That'd be a great name for a horse.
Sovereignty at 2-1. How do you make money betting on a horse at 2-1?
Really? No kidding. Rodriguez? Where's that horse from? Let me guess. Yeah, that is this week. Triple Crown, or the third part of it.
The finale. No Triple Crown winner this year.
No, there will not be.
Because one of them didn't race in the Preakness. But
maybe I should maybe I should start picking the ponies. And that could be
in your daily dog. I don't know.
Daily dog. Pick the ponies. I've been to a couple of horse races. They're kind of fun. It's a good way to spend the
I've been to a couple as well, but they were like quarter horse races. Those are pretty fun. All right. 2 to go.
2 to go.
We're ahead of the
no kidding.
Of schedule here.
Exit 22 off I-85 Shorter, Alabama, open 24/7. Victoryland, and that's gonna win or lose. There's more winning than losing at Victoryland. I can tell you that. What do we got?
Paul Skeens, who is all that. He, of course, was the pitcher of the year for LSU, number 1 pick in the draft. He is a 2.15 ERA, which is the second best in Major League Baseball, but he's got a losing record.
Ooh.
3 times pitched at least 8 innings. In those 3 games with 8 innings plus, he's allowed a total of 4 runs in those 3 games. And struck out at least 8 batters in all 3, but he's lost all 3. He's a really good young pitcher. Everybody wants him. That sounded like Billy Squire there.
No kidding.
But he plays for a terrible team. So do you trade Paul Skeens and get a bunch of prospects and get better or not?
Let me think about that one for a minute. I'll get back to you tomorrow on that one.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens, LSU.
Yeah.
All right, Gurn. Let's we got one more to go, I believe. Make it official. And the color of it is blue. Go figure. Wow, you've hit on something. Let's spin it.
Delayed.
Make it official. Delayed. Delayed. What could this be? Game delay.
Josh Harris's flight out of Vancouver. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Delayed here. Wait a minute.
Yeah. I saw this on a tweet from one of my favorite Twitter accounts at EDSBS. Every day should be Saturday. A plane from Indianapolis that was set to land at Oklahoma City has been diverted to Tulsa due to some severe weather. So the Pacers had to sit. I think it was, I don't know if it was a charter plane or anything. It might have been Pacer fans, but it might have been the Pacers. Had to sit on the tarmac for a long time because of severe weather.
Yep.
EDSBS, he says, soft. Give me the Thunder by 11 tonight. Having to wait for bad weather? Come on. I thought you guys were taking this seriously. It's the NBA Finals, for goodness sakes.
I've had to do that before. I've sat on the tarmac for several hours. Wait, hey, look, if the pilot says we're not going, we ain't going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever the pilot's good to go, then we can go. But if he's not ready to go, we ain't going.
Yeah.
All right. So tomorrow on our Thursday show, we of course have Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, going to join us at the bottom of the first hour.
Auburn's first ever host of a super regional tournament. It's a big deal down there.
Pretty exciting.
Yep.
Also, Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road, right here in Montgomery.
I saw yesterday where Rodney and Gary Harris from WVUA, who co-hosts, Tider Insider TV, they were the guest of a reunion somewhere, I forget where it was, of old Alabama defensive backs. I saw pictures and stuff like that. Pretty cool event. I'm going to have to ask him about that.
So they just had just DBs, huh?
Yeah, and it was in an old place. I mean, they had everybody got to bring. Everybody, it was like one of those potluck deals. I think Tommy Wilcox brought crab salad. Kelf Bailey brought toast.
What did Anthony Madison bring?
Come on, John. You got to give me credit for that one. Kelf Bailey brought toast.
Yeah. Deshae Townsend.
Yeah.
Who was the John Magnum?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we can get on this rabbit hole forever, and we can be
some of the Good brothers, I believe, were DBs.
Man. So anyway, we got to ask Rodney about that tomorrow. Thanks today for CJ Duncan for joining us from the nation's capital.
Yes,
which is also the site of the Phantom's Daily Dog tonight.
It sure is.
We got that
the Natties tonight
as well. For our esteemed producer, Gurn Jr., and John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.